So guys, in this video we are going to be learning how to cut a princess dart, a fitted one. So first, getting the fabric for cutting the front, you have to divide the bust by 4. So after dividing the bust by 4, the bust I'm using is 36. So after dividing it by 4, I got 9. So the next thing, you have to add your same allowance, your sewing allowance to it. Maybe you want 2 inches, 3 inches, or 1.5 inches. So I added 2 inches to it, so making it 11. After getting 11, you have to add 3 inches to the measurement. After adding your sewing allowance, you have to add 3 inches. And after adding these 3 inches, the fabric or the paper will be enough for cutting your princess dart. For the cutting, the fabric will be enough. So let's just get to it straight. So I'll be starting with the shoulder. I'm going to be starting with the shoulder. So I divide the shoulder by 2, getting 8. So I mark 8. Then I go down by 1 inch. After that, I mark my neck width using 3.5 as the neck width. So from this side, I'm going to connect from the shoulder to the neck, slanting. So I've done the connecting. The next thing is to measure the half length. I'm using half length of 14 inches. So I'm using 14 inches as my half length. So I'm going to condense. So this is the half length, and if you don't want the peplum to start immediately after the bust, you can add 2 inches to under the bust, extending the half length from 14 inches to 16 inches now. So now, the next thing is to take the chest line measurement. So I'm using chest line of 6 inches. So I'm going to mark. So after the chest line measurement, the measurement is the nipple point. So basically, to get the nipple point is to measure from the chest line to the under bust, then divide it by 2. Whatever it gives you is your nipple point. Remember, this is our half length. We only added 2 inches to it because we don't want the peplum to start immediately under the bust. So from the chest line to the under bust is 8 inches. So we divide 8 inches by 2 and we got 4. Getting 4. So this is the point where the nipple is. So the nipple is situated around this side. So the next thing is to divide the distance between the 2 nipples by 2. So the distance, the measurement I'm using, the nipple point distance is 7. So I divide it by 2, getting 3.5. Add sewing allowance to it, making it 4 inches. So I mark 4 inches at the nipple point. Coming down to the under bust, I'm going to divide the under bust and the nipple point by 2, not adding anything to it. So the nipple point is 7, I divide it by 2, 3.5. And I also come down here marking 3.5 also. Then I'm going to connect them together. So I'll come to the armhole now. So getting the armhole depth, you have to divide the bust by 6. After dividing by 6, add 1.5 inches to it. So my bust is 36, as I said. Dividing it by 6 is equal to 6. Adding 1.5, making it 7.5 inches. So this is the depth of the armhole. So I'm also going to measure the 8 inches I measured around the shoulder here. I'll measure it here. Mark it. So connect from the shoulder to the armhole. After doing that, I'm going to take half an inch inward. Taking half an inch inward, mark from the half an inch to the shoulder. Then after that, connecting with French curve. So this is the armhole. After doing this, I'm going to connect with my French curve from this point to the armhole. So before connecting, you have to divide the armhole depth. It was 7.5, you have to divide it by 2. So 7.5 divided by 2, you'll be getting 3.75. So 3.75 is around this side. So we are just going to connect from this little point to this point using French curve. But if you can use your free hand, that is fine. Using the French curve, I'll be using the French curve here. So this is it. After that, this is the center front. We have done with the center front. Coming to the side front. Going to the side front, we are going to take 2 inches out around this side. These 2 inches varies. This is for average ladies, average bust ladies. If the bust is big, you can take 2.5 inches out, and if the bust is small, you have to take 1.5 inches out. So the 2 inches we took out at this point, we are also going to take it out at the under bust. After doing that, we are going to connect from this line to the under bust line. So after connecting from this line to the under bust line, we are to use our French curve to connect from the under bust line to the nipple line. So doing this connecting, after doing this connecting, we are just going to connect from the nipple line to the armhole using the same French curve also. Using the same French curve, so we are going to place the French curve on it like this, then connect to the armhole. After connecting to the armhole, you are to measure this starting from the under bust line, measure it around. So I measured mine and I got 10 inches. So I'm also going to measure this one, starting from the under bust to this point, and see whatever the result is. So I got 11.5. So 11.5, this simply means I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches to this point, so that when joining, this side front will meet up with the center front, will be the same as the center front. So adding 1.5 to it, I'm now going to place the French curve on it back, connect to the 1.5 I added. So using your French curve again to get this. So we are done with the process. That now the next thing is for us to take out the bust measurement. I divided 36 by 4 and I got uh, 9, adding my sewing allowance, which I said 2 to it, 2 inches, making it 11. Measuring what I take out around this side is 1.5. This, measuring this 1.5. After getting 11, the bust measurement plus my sewing allowance gave me 11 plus 1.5, giving me 12.5. So I'm going to mark 12.5 around this side. Coming to the under bust is 30. 30 divided by 4, that is 7.5, with my 2 inches sewing allowance, making it 9.5. With the 2 inches I took out from this side, plus that, making it 11.5. So I'm going to mark 11.5 at this point. I mark 12.5 at this point, and also same thing, 11.5 at the end of it. So we are going to connect. So this is simply the process that. So this is the center front, and this is the side front. And so for us to complete, let's just take out the neck, depending the depth of the neck you want. If you want it to the chest line, and if you want to use 5 inches, 5.5 or 6 inches. So I'm going to be using my chest line as a neck depth. So I will place the French curve on it, then mark. And this is the neck. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. It is free to subscribe to a YouTube channel, and you can do that in less than 5 seconds.